godlike from the World Championships, so he's coming in with that stage play, that strength as well, and he is a solid player. You can always get at least the middle ground out of him. He's never going to do bad.
Yeah, absolutely. He is the rock with which LMQ can rely on almost.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Almost trying to be a lot like Dyrus is for TSM.
Right.
In that top lane. You can see Crepo breaking out his big piece of paper. He's very happy about that. The pick and ban strategy for Evil Geniuses.
Coming out big on this one. Twitch going to be banned out. Cassidy takes his place as well. Again, keeping that spot warm with a Lulu Morgana getting banned out on this one. So we're seeing different bans from game to game. Everybody knows that the beginning of the season is enough for the switch-ups. So they don't know what to ban. They're just banning what they feel comfortable with.
Yeah, so they're banning a lot of the protection champs right there. Lulu probably mid laner, Morgana support. Once again, when EG was victorious in the promotion tournament, they generally allowed Inox to play carries. And that means either they run like no tank with supportive mid laners or really tanky jungler for Snoopy. Getting rid of those supportive mid laners really limits the effectiveness of having a top lane carry.
Wow. First pick, 80 carry coming out for
Big smile from
LMQ.
Vasily.
Yep. He's like, I get priority first game LCS. Feels good. Lucian is going to be locked in, allows him to be the bully if he wants. He's trying to find the fine line between aggressive and passive. But I don't know. I think he's going to go more towards aggressive because when you're a player like that, you always are out for blood.
Especially with Lucian.
Yep. Inox snooping now. Like you said, Inox on those carries really kind of puts Snoopy in a position where he's got to do a little bit more of his own farming, his own findings for how he gets into the game. But right now we see the Kazakhs being pulled out. Has seen bans throughout here in the start of the summer split in NA, but now he gets picked up.
There's an outside chance that could actually be a top lane Kazakhs for Inox, and Snoopy could go with something else. We cannot take that out of the potential right here for EG just because Inox likes those champions.
Not a lot of junglers focused out between these two teams. You got even there. But other than that, quite a lot of high-tier jungle being left up. We do see Shyvana being picked up as well with Xiaowei Zhao's LeBlanc. Terror in the mid lane right there from him.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit outside of his normal champion picks.
The supporty ones,
He would do the Nidalee or the Orianna, things that can just get a lot of CS, reliably wear you down. LeBlanc requires you to be a bit more of a playmaker, but taking those legendary farming skills from the mid lane and putting them on LeBlanc can be strong. This is the Pete Parade right here.
Man.
What's he going to pick? Urgot? Kog'Maw? One of the two, right? Kog'Maw is just like a plushie for LeBlanc to attack.
I know.
A pinata,
man.
so to speak.
It's already got a hole in it, the pinata. It goes down so quick. They're going to leave it up. He's going to make us wait.
Final pick, 80 carry.
Elise and Kale. First pick, 80 carry to last pick, 80 carry.
Kale, as we saw in last game, Link did
man.
spectacularly on it. She has been
Wreaking havoc
all over the place, especially in solo queue. But now, taken to the NALCS. NALCS actually feels to be the league with which solo queue picks can make it in as quickly as possible, and then they filter throughout the rest of the LCS or pro leagues.
Right. Justice was rocking on it the other day. Kale's definitely had some good play time within the LCS on both sides of the pond. Vasily picking up that Lee Sin, and we get a Leona to come in here, so it does spell aggression for that bottom lane.
Yeah, that's a lot of going in.
Yep.
Not too much of going out.
Everybody has to dive in.
Yeah. So that probably means there's a mobile AD carry getting picked on the other side, or Urgot. One of the two.
Or Urgot, because they'll swap the in guy. Yeah. Oh man, we'll have to see what they decide to go with. Still got a few up. You can be safe with Kate. Graves has been seeing a little bit of playtime as well, but you're still kind of in or out of the fight with him. They are talking it. Kepo says, what do you want, Pete? I got it for you.
Really?
He typed in Kog'Maw. He typed that in, so he's going to have to delete those characters or select with the mouse. No, he locked it in!
Giving the fans what they want. Even though, honestly, it looks like a tall task for the Kog'Maw to do. Well, they do have intervention, so they can protect the Kog'Maw in that sense. And it actually was the top lane Kazakhs. This is a team of squishy assassins. They need to get far ahead early in order for this stuff to work. Otherwise, they should probably get wrecked.
An early game
later team fights.
Not something we see every day.
Nope. One last hurrah here for Pete and Crepo.
Trying to go in strong with this one. They really it's not a nothing to lose game, but it's kind of an all-out, as any game would be. But if you haven't played against LMQ, watched them, seen them, then obviously they have, but it's still going to be testing the waters throughout this entire game, even for us. We haven't seen LMQ here on the LCS stage.
Expect lane swaps. Kog'Maw against a Leona lane is something they absolutely want to avoid. I wonder whether LMQ is going to be shooting up towards the top lane to try and meet them there, but it's going to be a lot of the early game invades and stuff. That chess match early on to try and get the right stuff.
Well, the teams are loading into the game. Game 3 is about to get underway, so let's take a look at the voting. According to LOLesports.com, 75% of you think that LMQ will win and come out on top of this game. You can also share your predictions throughout the game by tweeting hashtag LMQWin or EGWin to @LOLesports. Make sure you get your votes in as the games go, and Yellow Pete starts getting out that living artillery.
Yeah, well, with that Kog'Maw pick,
right,
does the EG chance increase when they probably have a very good overall win rate with Kog'Maw throughout the history of their competitive career? They just haven't picked it much lately. There'll be a second before we get in that game. You can see Crepo having some quick issues.
Getting a recreate on that.
Ackerman as well.
No name. There's all the way down the line. LMQ still talking. We've actually asked players, you know, what is this portion about? If there's a pause, if there's a lull before the game, your adrenaline's like right there. You're about to start your first LCS game, and then it's like, hold on. So you kind of just wait, discuss. What were our plans? What are our plans? Do we have something to do at level 1? Like I said, Millennium put something on the plate right away. They got the scrying orb, they went to Dragon, and they tried to get a hook into the bush. If it worked, then they would have been up and up, but not. So we'll see if EG, a team that does like to do things early, as Curse does, a few teams in the LCS do.
And when EG gets a lead early, Riv, they generally were able to win games last split. That's one of the big ways they're able to beat Cloud9 Tempest as well, with some good early game strategies. That's also where you pretty much want to take down LMQ as well, because they're tremendously skilled at snowballing against games and teams, playing many inferior teams in the challenger scene to them, because they were just the kings of that league. They were consistently able to just bust ahead of teams and try and rush them down early.
A lot of people have been saying LMQ is beatable in these scrims. And a lot of the players think they'll finish middle of the pack. A lot of the pro players we've been chatting with, they figure it'll be a little bit past third. If they can get third, then obviously LMQ is showing stronger. But who knows? They could still go all the way. Depends on how they see the teams throughout the season. We got to remember, Team Solo Mid struggled in the middle of the last split because of the patch change. That could happen to any team during any split.
Yeah. These LCS seasons are a marathon. 28 games against each other, and you have to consistently adapt to the changing game. It is just the way League of Legends is. It's always been a changing game. It will continue to be a changing game. It is as much about how good you are in a current patch as you are at adapting to future patches.
Right. And everybody's got to adapt. It's not just your team.
Yeah. It's actually very interesting. I got to talk at the All-Star. I got to talk with a lot of the Korean players, Mad Life, Shy, and Faker in particular, and I asked them kind of how they adapt to the changes and what they think of the game changing so quickly. And they had a very professional answer. They just said, everyone's playing on the same thing. As soon as a patch comes out, you have to just find the new best strategy. There was no, oh, it's too fast. It's like, because it's the same for every single team.
Right.
So it's still the equal playing field, and that is part of the competitive landscape.
And I think the thing that is an advantage there is when you do have the winning strategies already, you can instantly try those again with that precision, and you can say they work or they don't.
And see the parts that work well, the parts that don't quite work well, and where you potentially have to change.
Then you just make the quick changes. Especially, and even Korean teams say that they do look at other teams. They, you know, you've heard them multiple times talking about Meteos in the jungle, watching Cloud9, watching other teams. So it's not just them formulating everything for themselves. They're taking and they're modifying.
Yeah, and with overall playstyles, trying to take and modify them. LMQ is now an American team. They've been playing in this ecosystem for 4 to 6 months. How much of the Chinese playstyle are they going to carry with them, and how much of it is going to be the North American influence?
Right. They still have a team that is forward-based.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your face. We'll have to see if they decide to go past the turrets, as Royal would have, as we're kind of talking about Chinese teams. We are into the game. LMQ coming in versus Evil Geniuses. And we are on to the Rift for Game 3 as the players make their way off the fountains. No irregular trinket buys here. Going to get the early wards out. And no consumables in the mid lane either, so it looks like we could get a good back and forth here. No name. A little BM there towards Shadow.
Well, he started with his Sonic Wave. He had to see where he was. He's got to look for his own teammate. Many a gank maybe happening for this LeBlanc. That LeBlanc versus Kale matchup is going to be so critical. But more critical is the way these early game wards and invades play out. LMQ very defensive early, and there's a chance EG just stands in that brush for a while, maybe until about 130, and then tries to late invade.
Very much closer. So it's just Snoopy.
Oh, they couldn't even get it. If they were all waiting in the same brush, they would have killed it instantly. But now that invade path is ruined.
Good ward coming out very early. That's going to be coming in from Ackerman. So he gets himself back to safety, and they say we do not need to put ourselves in a bad position here. I think this might be the first time we see a team stay on their own side completely.
This could be a really good mind game by EG. They backed away into the lane. They know where the ward is by LMQ. So if they walk through the lane and then just go through the brush anyway, they could still get a good delayed invade. Even though there's no way LMQ would think it's coming because they feel like they have all the entrances warded. This is an entrance that they did not think to ward. Will they go, or are they just waiting up here for a laner?
I don't know if
they would have to go right now if they wanted to stop the blue buff, but they're going to wait here.
I see Pobelter backing, but he can't get to mid lane fast enough to show himself and say, yeah, we're at laning phase. But this is still kind of a slow move here. Pobelter is making his way towards mid.
They're doing it. Can they make it in time? They're a little bit, it's 150. It's a ways away. Oh, they may have timed this just perfectly.
Nice ward there. Yeah, Pobelter meets lit mid lane, so they're not really looking for anything else. It's going to be the hook. Just missing as Ackerman sidesteps, but they get the ward, and EG's patience could be paying off here. This is going to force LMQ over to the other side of the map. They do have Vasily and more in the bottom lane, so it should be all right.
It still worked out great for EG. They didn't get the hook kill, but they did time it just right. You can tell they've done that a couple times. They waited until exactly the moment so they could arrive just into vision range as the blue buff spawned.
Very nicely done. Not too much of a one-up just yet. We'll see where LMQ goes after this. We are going to see that buddy system coming into the jungle here. Something we've seen the majority of the teams do throughout Game 1 and 2 of the NA LCS. As the gold is dead even to start this one off. It's going to be Pobelter pushing the lane in first, getting that level 2. So Zhao Zhao is forced to farm here.
Pobelter needs to watch out for the Lee Sin gank because he knows that their blue buff is getting invaded. So it's actually it's a nice tell of the side he needs to cheat on in the lane. He does not want to stay towards that, I mean his left, but the viewer right side of the lane.
Good guy help over to No Name as Ackerman continues to soak up that experience. And see that, again, another team that doesn't super share. They go ahead and take whites by themselves, and then the red by themselves.
Lane swap that EG kind of wanted. It's going to mean a lot of 1v1ing here from Pobelter and Zhao.
There's a good silence. He throws down the heel to get a bit of that surge and movement speed. But Zhao knows he still has a bit to rebuttal with on the attack.
Interesting how Pobelter actually has 2 points in E, 1 point in heal, and no points in his Q. The Q is the main trading tool by Kill, mainly in lane. Pobelter going for the lane shoving more so than anything else early on.
Trying to keep that Zhao from farming too much or leaving the lane and getting kills on what would be that very squishy yellow Pete as the game comes to it. Good damage on the top turret here. They're going to have a bit more, 4 more shots to get through the turret on that one with the minions they have. Vasily's doing the same, but he's getting solo experience down here once he gets those minions.
Yeah, this is what a lot of teams have adapted to doing when you have these extended freeze lane swaps, is it makes your AD carry, especially someone like Lucian who has pretty good bases on his spells and relies pretty heavily on levels sometimes, give him more of that experience and then hope to create action elsewhere. It's tricky though with a level 3 Leona, but they're going something big. They get the hold and the stun!
Oh my gosh, a 3-man minute, 4.5 minutes into the game. Leaving Vasily to get all that farm in his bottom lane, worked out mid.
And they get the reward, exactly. Now more is more farmed as well because of the assist. Plus the 1v1 matchup is so critical for LMQ's success. Zhao can take that and move throughout the rest of the map.
That's what I was talking about earlier. A team that has something on their plate from the beginning. They knew they wanted to activate something before 5 minutes. We saw that Moore was moving around from about 3.5. So he was standing in that jungle for over a minute to coordinate that, and the rest of the team made it happen perfectly. A missed gank there could have been pretty costly.
Yeah, they landed all the skill shots, though. That's the important thing. The root landed from LeBlanc, and they comboed him before Pobelter could even flash away.
So with a bit of the upper hand now, only 800 in gold, but a good rotation here from LMQ. So now EG has to really keep their peripheral vision open to make sure those ganks aren't coming in from the support at level 4. Looks like Vasily pushing up to the turret once again. He hasn't gotten too much damage on the turret, but that's again something we've been seeing is just more lane farm for those AD carries.
Look at that, 42 farm already for Vasily.
Yeah.
No opposition. And now with the Kazakhs in the lane, it's not like he's going to be denying him much farm. Snoopy having to share jungle experience as well. That's the thing with these double jungles, is when they do end up going to the AD carry lane, think back to Season 3. The double buff jungler and the experienced up solo laner could often 2v2 that lane, making it dangerous.
Right.
But with this double jungle, they would be far too weak to 2v2 the support and the AD carry, even when they are both there, which just makes it even more beneficial for the AD carry and his ability to get farm.
Being able to push off 2 always feels pretty good.
Well, this is a nice bait.
Waiting for him. Actually, No Name is there, and he goes in. He should be dead on this one. A safeguard. He flashes out of that one, tries to throw down the Iron Will, but he does not have enough room to get shots in. This is going to be EG closing down on LMQ, trying to bite off a little too much.
What a great bait there by Snoopy and Crepo. They kind of gave LMQ a taste of their own medicine there. They have Kog'Maw on the top lane. Crepo said, I can make plays in the jungle too, and then the close, since Moore had already burned his flash for the last kill, gave him the second. EG strikes second and more effectively.
That's a very good point. We just were in the top lane watching Crepo back, and as he came off of the fountain, they know they wanted to make a play. EG still knows to keep themselves in this one.
Yeah.
You can see No Name thought he was all good to go here.
Exactly. From his perspective, he was just looking for a little counter jungling. But only being level 3, it was rather dangerous. Snoopy with a pretty nice follow to get close enough. Inox with a great roam because he was already pushed back in his turret. It was an incredibly dangerous invade in retrospect for No Name. And a battle in mid.
Whoa, Zhao not very low! The silence was there with the auto attacks. Pobelter been leveling that E. Blue suede shoes for Pobelter coming in at 7 minutes.
Wow, everything going EG's way right here. They also won in the promotion tournament, much like LMQ, and they are looking good early on. 2 kills on a Kayle in the mid lane can be disastrous for an opponent. That's what Link actually had in the last game. He went off.
And it's not going to hurt that the carry, Inox, who is trying to do so on Kazakhs, did not go for that split push champion, has a kill for himself as well, and that was brought right to him. He didn't have to do anything for it.
And we haven't actually seen the same level of top lane farm denial we did in games 1 and 2.
That's right.
Inox is at 29 CS, Ackerman's at 20. We saw 3 CS at 8 minutes in some of these other games. And Kog'Maw can absolutely take a Shyvana 1v1 when there's the experience denial in the way we've seen.
Crepo come in at 4. You can see how the levels are hurt here, but they're taking that into consideration with all the roaming they've been doing. They got to engage a little bit safer. So far, an engage here in the mid lane, a double distortion into the chain, but actually grabbing the minion.
Pobelter's going to need his ultimate up. It'll be up in 10 seconds, but he can't take harass like that, knowing the support is roaming. And I need to clarify what I'm saying about the experience denial on the top lane. It's not as much as we've seen in the previous games because the supports have been roaming, and it's mainly been 1v1s, but it still exists because of the early double jungling that happened.
Ackerman's sense is really on point to keep himself alive here, knowing that there was just too much aggression in the movement forward there at EG. Has to back off.
Repetitive buff invades as well. That's what we see with these extended lane swaps. They kind of trade whose buff is controlled by who. You can see EG's actually pinging the blue buff right now.
Trying to move in, leaving Yellow Pete up top once again to get himself farm, and we'll see what Ackerman can formulate here. He's just waiting as much time as he can. Oh, they're going for the full roam around here. The back play, just on the outside. Go for the repel as well. They're putting a lot of focus here towards this top lane, and we see now movement from LMQ towards the bottom.
Yeah, Inox has got to be careful. He does have his ultimate evolved, so he gets that really nice escape, and he ends up not even having to use it.
Everybody feeling a bit of that same pressure in the top or bottom lane for the singles. Looks like Inox and Ackerman stay alive for the time being. Looks like those turrets finally go down. So a little bit of gold spread out across the teams. Zhao never hesitating to go in with a distortion and just add damage to Pobelter.
A lot of mind games going on there. Pobelter was trying to juke as soon as he got jumped towards to try and make him miss that point blank ethereal chain. Just didn't even use it. Hook lands though on him more. Do they get him in turret range to aggro? No.
Good play back.
One shot.
That peace of mind to not attack at all, not try and put any damage down. No aggro from the turret. Very, very close game. It's still that 800 gold lead that we've been seeing throughout. No real items have been finished either. Super low farm game here as the rotations have just been taking over. Zhao still trying to put pressure in that mid lane and get use of that blue buff.
Zhao is doing a number on Pobelter in the laning phase. Just Pobelter was able to pick up that nice 1v1 kill and get the roam kill. As far as actual CS and harass goes though, Pobelter's really getting hit pretty hard. No blue buff to speak of either, so his heals can't keep up with the harass of Xiao.
And he's been in constant pressure. His flash is down, his ignite is down, intervention came up a few seconds ago. He's been constantly using those, and LMQ has been making sure of that. They do not want him with any other extra advantages as they come into fights, which I'm surprised they haven't pressured yet. We haven't seen too much towards Dragon as teams, but now with 2 minutes, we may.
Yeah, the early Dragon, of course, an easy pickup. Inox continuing to get a lot of experience. A nice timely teleport there. Even though it'll be down for Dragon, his farm is a priority for EG. They need his Kazakhs to be farmed. They use him as that top lane carry. So a nice teleport right there.
Back to the matchup. Duos in the bottom lane. Krepo trying to get an early ward. Is this going to cost him? A good rotation here and a read by Snoopy, but No Name is trying to do the same thing as they go in. Krepo taking a lot of damage. The dash forward. The shot's hit, and he dashes back for the calling to continue onto Yellow Pete. Great mechanics coming in from Vasily. A nice shot on the solar flare. A double kill coming in. They're going to chomp down right onto Pobelter, and across the map, EG starts to fall.
LMQ flipped a switch, turned it on, and they just went for it at that point. Krepo got a little bit too aggressive. Moore knew he was close to 6, so if they got the first kill, it was almost like a reset. He could skill up his ultimate very quickly and go for more. What a nice move. Check this out, even though there's a fight there. Missed the mid lane fight. They just burst him through the shield, basically. They got a lot of damage down beforehand, and they just caught him moving towards his lane. There's been so much in that lane for Pobelter. Everyone has had their hand at trying to take down Pobelter. That time was Ackerman's realm.
Simple mind games, and you see Pobelter's flash had just come up. They took it down again. Inox using the stealth to get out. Have to wait that extra time to use it again, but he doesn't even try. Gets himself to safety. Quite low mana there, and he'll probably be backing. 20 seconds left on the Dragon. It'll be good to have Inox for this fight, but teleport is down, so he's going to be running his way down towards that Dragon pit.
And his ultimate's down.
Yep.
So he's not near the effectiveness you would want from a Kazakhs. Little baby jump with no stealth isn't too threatening in the Dragon fight. Ackerman going without teleport as well. Oh no, Krepo gets hit again, but can he dodge enough stuff?
Close.
Why does he need war control over there? The Dragon is what they actually are worried about right now. He needs to get in position to the Dragon, get his pink ward down in an important spot, and use that to try and bait out hooks.
Slowly hatching this ward. Morris doesn't even know he's sitting on it. Krepo looking for the hook, but they don't have the follow-up on this. Xiao in the face of danger, trying to bait out a few more attacks here. You can see No Name and the rest of the team just off on the wing, but EG is setting up for this as well. The Dragon fight about to come in.
And Vasily with his Bloodthirster is very scary. It's not a complete item onto Pete yet. No Blade of the Ruin King on Kog'Maw. Vasily cleaned up this fight. He would effectively put his own stamp on this game for carrying. It's going to be about who gets a catch. Can Leona get a catch? Can LeBlanc burst down a target? Or can Krepo land that death sentence on a squishy target?
They're trying to get the hooks out, trying to get the cocoons in the right spot. The follow-up just does not seem to be there. There's quite a bit of gap closure the rest of the team can't follow up right now. The Yellow Pete on the backside, only with the unfinished Blade of the Rune King at this point to the Bloodthirster, so that's going to be tough. Once Yellow Pete does get items, he'll be a force to be reckoned with. But right now, like we said, just a pinata. Yeah. Squishy squish.
No Athenes on Xiao yet, so mid laner's not hitting huge damage breakpoints. Getting the blue buff onto Pobelter was very important there as well. You can see a very close steal attempt by No Name. LMQ starts the Dragon in a very aggressive fashion, forcing EG to move in there. EG is slow to respond.
This has given Inox time to get the ultimate back up. There's the solar flare right onto Yellow Pete. A flame back off of what they tried to get down into the back line. This is good damage coming from Inox. Inox turns now, more in his face, but he goes for Vasily, trying to take down the 80 carry right away, and beautiful focus from Evil Geniuses in this Dragon fight. But Xiao now makes himself present, misses the first attack. The heal comes out from Vasily, and EG dominates the Dragon fight.
3 for 0 for EG right there, and everybody very low. They traded damage exactly how they needed to. They retake the lead in this game as LMQ got dominated in that team fight. They forced the Dragon, which does put them at a bit of a disadvantage because they're taking the damage. And watch how, even though they landed the solar flare, the follow-up was crushed by Krepo. The play and the box, the thresh was huge in that one. And also, Pobelter kept LeBlanc out of the fight. LeBlanc had to walk all the way around as Pobelter was fighting in this one. So not only did they get the play to stop the initiation, they also stopped LeBlanc. They protected the Kog'Maw and made it work.
Great play, leaving LMQ to flash away there. What I thought was really LMQ's fight to be on that one. We know LMQ for being a team fight team, coordination in a team fight, but EG being down, able to come out big there. Now 15 and a half in, 6-4 with that Dragon. They don't grab a huge amount of map pressure, but they do know the fights can go in their favor, so yeah, that'll give them something to think about.
They're team fighting quite well right now. It will be interesting because they don't have the true tank, and Shyvana will turn into one. How quickly they can shred through the enemy tank to kind of equalize the battlefield there. And they need to, in fights like that, they need to be the ones that play the peel game right like that. Krepo's flay needs to happen in almost every fight in order for them to be successful like that. But boy, that was a pretty successful one.
Looks like Yellow Pete actually fixing himself together a phage for that second item to go for the Triforce. Remember back to the Genshin build.
Yeah.
Loving it up.
The one Genja build that stuck. The one people decided to copy.
He's 1-1 and 2. Yeah. Picking up that kill helped him finish his blood.
And it helps Kog'Maw because he is so immobile in the first place. With the Blade of the Rune, right, that enhances it. The Trinity Force will do that as well. And he actually has a lot of spells he can use in between that stuff to get the Trinity Force procs out. It is good, also considering he does so much damage from his skill set as well. There is logic behind this Trinity Force Blade of the Rune King Kog'Maw.
Krepo getting himself maxed out on HP as much as he can. Ruby Crystal going in with the Giant's Belt, so he can get himself in for some initiations. A lot of front-end burst damage coming from Xiao with that Deathfire Grasp. He knows that the intervention is going to be there, but the silence is on. Can they finish this one? It's only going to be another shot. Oh, the Q doesn't activate it. He was not leveling his Q throughout the game.
Yeah, he is the weak Q is what he has skilled up right there. Maxing E instead, as a lot of the Kales that go Berserker Greaves for the Hurricane build do, just because they want to wave clear and get the farm, but it costs him a kill right there.
So close. Xiao limps away from the fight happily, and he's able to start that Unthian's Unholy Grail for himself. The Chalice being picked up. He's got 40 CS lead about in that mid lane, and Pole Belter was just trying to get something back, but the cookie crumbles the wrong way.
Yeah, 2-level edge now for Xiao.
Yeah,
that's Pole Belter. Inox, though, very farmed on the top lane. Going to be trying to get that Hydra completed fairly quickly. Krepo gets jumped on. Where's the follow?
Wow. LMQ being very LMQ-ish for a second. Trying to go hard right under the turret, under the nose of EG.
Yeah, it doesn't give him a turret, and it does basically trade ultimates right there. Or used a lot onto Krepo. Krepo did have to burn everything, but no turret, so I'd say a slight edge by EG. Every time EG actually wins these big team fights, LMQ is coming back in the rest of the game. So it's kind of like the laning phase, and the general play of LMQ is better than EG right now. But the team fighting and the clutch moments are going to EG to keep them in the game. That means as soon as EG loses one team fight, they're most likely just going to lose complete control of the game.
It's big. When you think of LMQ, you think of solid lanes. Xiao in the mid lane. When does he lose that in CS? When does he not get the first kill? Oh my gosh, instantly popping down, as I said, Pole Belter in that situation. He knows what he can do. Pole Belter just tried to do that himself and wasn't able to, but Xiao knew he could do it the other way around.
Just for a ward as well. One other look at this, landing every single spell right there. DFG first before everything else.
Perfect.
Procking the sides, then the last detonation of the Ethereal Chains finishes him off. It's going to be one of those things you get a GIF online to show every little moment of
slow it down. Point here, diagram here, add and subtract. Looks like the turret in the mid lane is going to go down. That's only a few shots coming in from the rest of the team. The Sheen proc there on Vasily. Actually, I think it was just a normal shot. And they won't be fighting this one too much. Xiao in the bottom lane with Deathfire Grasp down. I mean, he's only a few seconds away from being able to kill Pole Belter again. You got to be very careful.
Pole Belter would have to ult almost immediately before the silence kicks in. Making it a very difficult, stressful moment for him. 3 kills on Kale, but the fear of LeBlanc.
Seeing what EG can formulate. They are putting their pressure in the mid lane with Inox on a little bit of roam. They're saying he'll catch somebody on the rotation. But right now, he's only got Ackerman to mess with in the top lane. Right now, they're both level 11, and it's going to be an all-out fight. It looks like Ackerman tries to go for broke in the beginning and realizes that might be a bad idea. Goes for the flippy-floppy flash.
Yeah, a very early flash. His ultimate was still up as far as running away. I am confused as to why he would use that flash so quickly, because Shyvana's ultimate can be charged up very quickly elsewhere. But he keeps the ultimate, meaning he better use it almost immediately in the mid lane if he wants to make that flash worth it, as if he was saving a cooldown. But he kind of needs to go back top to stop Inox from farming. Great win there by Inox.
No Name looking to head mid now with Ackerman. Good damage from Yellow Pete as he activates that Bio-Arcane Barrage to get extra damage out, or range I should say, on the turret. And it looks like they're going to be able to take down top. No Ackerman with a good rotation over here, and the wards keep Inox safe. So EG pushing themselves into the right spot, getting good forward wards down, and LMQ is only left with getting these picks off, like Xiao Wei Zhao in the bottom lane, and they're not really grabbing turrets off it.
A split pushing the block.
Yeah.
Not going to finish a turret, but definitely going to stop other people from being able to farm that lane. It's kind of a long game strategy where you're not trying to get turrets, but you're just trying to gain gold on the enemy team. And that's kind of what LMQ has been able to do outside of the big fights, always gain gold. But with only 2 turrets down in 21 minutes, you can see the negative effects of that solo in the block.
Still back to farming. Nobody's really trying to put pressure on anything. Dragon has come up now, but we have 2 members top lane, No Name and Ackerman, or he's already put Burnout to get himself over here. They're running down to Dragon.
Yeah. And the Dragon is really what EG has to do. Because I really like the strategy of LMQ with LeBlanc as a split pusher. It's against the entirely squishy team of EG. No one can actually go into that. Normally would send a tank against him and push him right out. EG doesn't have that option, so LMQ is taking away their strategy, and they make it to Dragon in time.
Get there quite fast. The vision from Sonic Wave. No resonating strike to connect on that one as LMQ wants to keep themselves in position. Remember, this was the fight that cost them the lead last time, but they've got too much position here as they move in.
Yeah, last time Pobelter was able to keep Xiao Wei Zhao out of the fight. That time they did not have the vision control to safely go and check, and LeBlanc could LeBlanc people if they walked through, instantly kill another one, and they end up giving up the Dragon.
For a second, I thought that purple wave was a Kha'Zix. I was like, where'd he go? He disappeared. But he's going to top lane. Still pretty even levels across the board, except for what we were saying in that mid lane, 14-12. That's why Pobelter has really been focused by Xiao Wei Zhao in that bottom lane, but they go back again. EG's not ready to force anything, so back to lane farming, back in to let Inox do what he can. Kind of hit like a wall here from getting so big and hasn't been able to finish these items.
EG has lost control of this game in a sense. Even though they were able to win team fights, they just haven't been keeping up with the lane pressure from LMQ. Yellow Pete and Crepo in their last hurrah. You know, how is this Kog'Maw going to be transitioning? He almost got his Trinity Force. Pobelter's a little bit struggling because of the kills from LeBlanc that have been putting down on him. And there's the, oh my word.
Oh, from the outside, Ackerman comes in. Crepo gets chewed up right away. Inox doing what he can. Thinks he can get into Xiao Wei Zhao. They throw the intervention out perfectly onto him. But are they trading enough damage back? Yes, they are. Inox very close to going down. No ignite on him, and he's able to get away. Sonic Wave just missing as they take down Yellow Pete on the backside of that fight. Snoopy back and forth. Xiao Wei Zhao does not go down to the Acathian. Surprise. Gets himself to safety. Snoopy goes down after he was trying to get to Xiao Wei Zhao, and they put it perfectly. Yes, they have the team fight capability.
Kind of like I wasn't able to pass off the fight to you. EG wasn't able to respond to that one because the ultimate came down clean and stunned 3 people at that point. 2 had to flash away immediately, 1 disappeared, and then the fight is chaos for EG. They got initiated on clean, they couldn't peel anymore, which means all the squishies are prone to assassination attempts. Nowhere is safe. Yellow Pete, he had nowhere to go really, gets popped very quickly there by LeBlanc, almost finished off Xiao Wei Zhao with his passive, and then this is actually just LeBlanc toying with Snoopy. He wanted to repel to try and jump on him, but he never saw the vision, and Vasily was able to pick up another kill.
Not sure how many fights I've seen where the opposing team comes from almost every direction on your team. LMQ somehow gained control over the entire area before even initiating that fight. And EG had the vision coverage too, so a little loss of mind there by EG as they felt too comfortable. But now moving to the mid lane, hopefully able to pick up a little bit, stave off the bleeding that just started.
Yeah, that is a lot of potential pain for EG. Lose 1 fight after, losing control of the game. And you lose so much more. You can see the reflection in the mid lane and the bottom lane CS numbers. Monstrous. Ackerman, because he is not relied upon as the carry top laner of LMQ, he is behind Inox and farm. EG has done a lot of maneuvering to try and get him more on Kha'Zix. It's just not necessarily working out.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that was a little scary.
Both giving each other respect.
No ultimate up for Xiao Wei Zhao, so he couldn't turn it around. He's also respecting the intervention of Pobelter.
Slowly, you can see the Yellow Pete getting all the farm as he should. As an AD carry, you're not doing your job if you're not farming. Good rule of thumb to know. And we can see that Zhao Vasily rather has taken that into consideration. As you said, 243, 46 now, highest in the game at 4-0-1. A bit of aggression has seemed to pay off for him this game, but he did find that fine line between safety and aggression. Ackerman now. Oh, wow. Inox actually getting pinched in. Forced to use the leap over the wall. Gets the resonating strike perfectly to make sure Inox cannot participate here. And it looks like Snoopy get himself into a pretty scary situation. Is going to be forced down in the eyes of LMQ. They actually go back to Yellow Pete. Snoopy's left kind of in the middle of the fight. Inox getting another resonating strike and a good hit up by Yellow Pete to quickly take that down with damage from Pobelter.
2-4-1. They could not finish off Ackerman right there. Now Xiao wants one more, but doesn't think it's wise. There's still an intervention on Pobelter actually after all that.
Getting into the base could be quite hard. The Void Ooze along with Pobelter clearing out the waves is going to make it very hard to get close to an inhibitor turret, but with more solar flares and zenith blades right now, I don't know if EG can be safe behind a turret at this point.
Especially with how willing LMQ is to die.
Yeah.
If one thing...
Still can resort to that old play.
Yeah, they had a lot of practice diving people that they're ahead of in the challenger scene. It's something they're very good at, and their team composition is suited to do so. Shyvana tanking up as much as possible. Sunfire cape completed.
They're always hunting people.
Base of the mountain. They have good vision control as well. You can see 3 sweepers, an upgraded sweeper actually on No Name, and a Sightstone. Pink wards across the board.
Just making sure they have every advantage that they can right now. They don't want to give up even one bit. The Stort's in, gets the Eye of Pobelter right quick, and you can see how fast that Hurricane build clears waves. And he quickly goes to put a ward out as well that's not easily cleared. Inox again with Ackerman, back and forth. They have gone toe-to-toe numerous times here, mainly with Ackerman walking away, but I think this one's due to vision, and he's very good to walk away.
Still no lifesteal as well on Inox, so when he does trades like that, he needs to deal with his W. Whereas the Bilgewater Cutlass is on Ackerman. If they do that for too long, he could actually win a bit of a sustain war.
Ooh, this is going to be big. Is the silence there? The intervention actually takes off that burst damage from the front end of that second activation. It looks like Zhao's left with just a bit of damage. Ackerman, like you said, if that is an elongated fight, he could be able to come out on top. A 2-second wait on that invisibility now, and it does cost Inox's life.
Ackerman takes him out 1v1. Inox tried to make a play. Yep. The team itself was down thousands and thousands of gold. He was being relied upon to be a carry top laner. When he can't take down the guy he's ahead of in farm, it's probably time to call it. I mean, EG wants to make a big play, but that's why Inox wanted to try for that. He knew he needs to be able to win that matchup for EG to win the game. He tried, and he failed.
We're seeing Snoopy as well, far behind No Name and CS. Himself, Snoopy, having to build tank. He can't really put any pen in the build like an Elise would, so can't really help Inox with these fights either. A lot of synergy coming in from LMQ around the board. Winning lanes, even if they didn't, they're able to win the fights now. And it seems like they're coming out on top. 13-8, coming up on 29 minutes, I should say, with a 7,000 gold lead. And LMQ is being quite definitive. They haven't really backed off. Yeah. They've been taking things when they can and pretty much are on course to end this one.
Yeah, we think all the way back to the start of the game. They were the first team to roam. They initiated mid lane war.
Level 3.
Yeah, mid lane roam. They did get a little bit punished for their over-aggression, which is going to happen with a young new team that likes to play very aggressively. You need to find your windows with which you can aggress safely. And honestly, the most aggressive teams do make unsafe calls every once in a while, but the fear that they instill in the other team is often worth it.
Adapting very well to that one game play. The best of one. LMQ looking now to bait out the Baron Boogie. We'll see if EG kind of wants this. Snoopy's going to get hit up quite hard. They deliver that early damage to get just that bit of advantage on the fight. You saw that hit onto Snoopy. Not even a priority target was enough for them to activate.
Well, if they're actually going to be threatening the Baron, having a low health Elise would be ideal. With the Kale heal, though, it's not that realistic. They're just trying to get vision control. Look at all the wards they have on the outer ring of the Baron pit, which actually tells me that LMQ is looking for a peel fight if they go back to Baron, not to do the Baron, but to jump over the wall, because everyone on their team can jump over the wall and get a fight.
Talking about that earlier, it is a very scary but very LMQ-esque thing. All in. Everybody go forward, not backwards. Right now, they may have to give this one up, but Ackerman goes forward before it goes backwards, and they are still actually going forward.
Might go.
The close in here from the left side. Zhao off on the wing. It could be very big. Looking for a solar flare, but nah, they're just going to... Whoa! They are going to try for it. Zhao I thought would have come up towards the whites and made his way in, but they're a little far back on that one. The solar flare used out.
Solar flare for flash is basically the trade there. That's one thing with Cogma.
That'll
When
work.
it flashes up, you can avoid it, but if it's down, it means the next one can get him. Flash a much longer cooldown there than solar flare. Solar flare is going to be up in 41. Flash, of course, is a 5-minute cooldown. So
It's also good.
A little bit of a mismatch.
A tough fight for Yellow Pete. So low on mana. Kog'Maw shreds through his mana once he starts using your living artillery. Always trying to activate that Bio-Arcane Barrage. So we'll see how much effect he has in this fight. A level 16 to 15. Pole Belter's kind of brought himself up in that. Ackerman in a good spot. He's going to try to get an attack on. Blade of the Rune King. No. The Cutlass goes down. Tries to activate a Yellow Pete with the intervention. The lock is still on time with the intervention save, but the follow-up is too much. LMQ going hard. Throws the fake out down to the bottom side. Pole Belter goes down, and LMQ makes a push for the inhibitor turret.
Inox had actually roamed bottom to try and get a push going to take advantage of the large minion wave down bottom. But it just backfired because LMQ was able to reach EG at that point. They thought with the Lantern they were able to get clean, but LeBlanc just chases too quickly, too many dashes, and now they're on Baron.
Snoopy, he is alive to do it. The Volatile Spider goes out, not enough vision. Baron going down, but it looks like they're going to back off of this one. It has too much HP. Krepo takes a big hit up. He gets her. The flay into the hook. Krepo flashes, but the culling reaches him just on the tail end. Inox trying to get out of this one. The movement speed coming in from the ult as he goes Viz. And it looks like they're going to be able to go back to the Baron. One coming up, which means Pole Belter won't make it in time. That's two still down.
I mean, that was one hell of a play by Krepo.
Yeah.
But the situation that EG was a disaster anyway, so I don't know if a great play doing a bad thing is still a great play.
Right.
It could just be a bad play because you lost anyway. They were able to kill Xiao Zhao, but check this out. He actually interrupts him mid-dash towards him with the start of the play to stop the assassination, and then he hooks him and pulls him in beyond the cocoon from Snoopy. So it wasn't perfect. But then the rest of the team gets run down by Vasily, who is now godlike. The Baron goes to LMQ, and they assume complete control of this game.
Well, if this is any indication of what Vasily's decision might be of whether to play aggressive or safe, I think the aggressive one suits him a little bit more. You know, 7-0 and 4 in the game right now, and he's looking to buy an Infinity Edge, not any defense.
Doesn't feel like he needs it at this point.
Nope.
Because he's really, the rest of the team is playing so aggressive that he is completely safe without defensive items. No one on EG is really capable of reaching him right now because it's LMQ who is picking all the battles.
EG coming into this game, as we were saying, Yellow Pete trying to make that last hurrah on his Kog'Maw to see what they can do. Maybe affecting the team here in the knowledge, but they are still trying their hardest. Yellow Pete 242 down in CS quite a bit, and Vasily made sure of that. The whole LMQ team did. Now as they pressure the inhibitor turret, EG's indication of anything is going to be coming from Krepo. If Krepo can do it or Snoopy can get a cocoon, that's all they got. LMQ sees it every time.
And with the ultimate burned on Pole Belter, it just means it's time to dive. More might look for the solar flare. Minions are out, but they're still in the turrets. That means they want to go.
Baron's keeping him quite strong and healed up here. I'm sure Ackerman's going to be diving in quite soon to this one. The play goes out, and there goes Ackerman. Dragon's Descent into the fight, quickly taken down as Krepo. He can no longer give shields or support to the team. Yellow Pete is taken down, and candy flies everywhere. The Pinata has been knocked out, and it looks like they are going to be able to end on this one. 40 to 50 seconds on those death chambers. LMQ sits inside the base with a wave right on their heels.
What a nice debut into the LCS for LMQ and Vasily. 9-0-6 on Lucian. They destroy Evil Geniuses. Start their season with a win.
Very nice job. It's going to take just about 35 minutes for LMQ's first win here in the North American LCS, and they do take down the Nexus versus Evil Geniuses.
That is that for these guys. 21 kills. They did have a few missteps in team fights.
But that shows that their adaptation is spot on.
Yes, their overall game plan. The way they were using the Blanc as a split pusher to starve out EG from a lane for the entire game and the way they systematically just dove through EG, baited out Pobelter's intervention almost every time, very rarely getting blocked from kills by that spell, and then just finished him off. We got it again.
Ackerman with great dives into that one. The fight in mid lane, where LMQ came from every side, just keeps replaying in my head. I don't know how many times I've ever seen a team get closed in like that.
Yeah.
It was almost like an ambush that was set up 5 minutes ahead of time. It was crazy.
LMQ, we knew before the game they played very well as a team. We just weren't exactly sure how their individual play was going to stack up. Evil Geniuses is not the biggest test they'll face in the LCS. That's true. No secret that they are still undergoing roster changes. This was Yellow Pete's final game in the LCS. Not the most triumphant way to go out, but at least he did get to play that Kog'Maw.
He did pay respect to the fans. They called it out. They wanted to see it. Kog'Maw was played, and he came out well in the beginning. It was what they needed. Those lanes that we've been seeing that just allow them to farm up. But then LMQ closed down the map a little too quick, and as you said, nobody was really able to get a lane to farm in because of the pressure.
Yeah, Xiao Xiao's LeBlanc was